Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third season of Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. I'm your host, Meeting, better known as Timba. Today we will see 50 competitors taking on a 4-stage course with a grand prize of 1,500 Robux, waiting at the top of Mount Dorian. Let's start this tournament where every tournament starts, and that is at the starting line, where our first competitor is already waiting. This is Card SD. This is his third appearance in Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. He has run every single season and has failed the jumping spider in both season 1 and season 2. He's already through the first obstacle and is now onto the second obstacle. This is the curtain slider. Pretty simple concept. You jump through it like the silk slider from season 3, just a little bit easier. Season 2 I mean. You slide down and then you dismount, which he has pulled off nicely, and now onto the third obstacle. This obstacle is inspired by the Wipeout. It's called the rugby trap, because these spinning things, they look like rugby goals, and Card has made it and is now onto the jumping spider. He has failed this in both this first and second season. Let's see if he can complete it this time. No, he can't. Card has failed the jumping spider again. Next up is Foley_YT, a regular who has competed for the first time in the last season. That time around he could not make it past the qualifying course. The qualifiers are now gone. No more qualifiers, just 4 stages. Let's see if he has more luck this time. He's onto the first obstacle with shrinking steps. He's caught the rope and is into the second set and dismounts. Now onto the silk curtain slider, not silk slider, it's the curtain slider. It's basically silk, by name the curtain slider. He has dismounted and is now onto the third obstacle. This is the rugby trap. I've already explained the name. Oh, and he almost fails the rugby trap but barely makes the dismount, is now onto the jumping spider. Got the trampoline, onto the second ledge, third ledge. He has made, no, he has overshot the jump. Next up is Ness Ninja 5. Another regular. He has failed the first stage, spinning bridge, last season. Made it through the shrinking steps, onto the curtain slider, making good progress. Onto the final slider, is now sliding down. The spinning bridge was the third obstacle in season 2. Now here comes the rugby trap. Slowly maneuvering through the first set, has made the transition. And oh, he wasn't fast enough in the second set. CRZ wasn't much luckier. Neither was It's Vixby's. Big Fish 2007 touched the rugby spinner, and Brickbreaker 135. Well, he just waited a little too long. Now on the starting line is VGXX. Last season he managed to make it all the way to the double butterfly wall on stage 2. Let's see how he can do this time around on the third season of Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. He is already onto the curtain sling, sliding down the track slowly but surely, and here comes the dismount, no problem for VGXX. Now onto the rugby trap. We've already seen a couple of people fail. This obstacle is not to be taken for granted, but he has made it through. Now onto the jumping spider. Made it into the spiders, now moving through. This is where Card failed. He made it through, and he fails the jump to the upper ledge. He rushed it. Unfortunate. Next up is Survivor_fan09. Now moving through the shrinking steps and onto the platform. Here comes the second obstacle, the curtain slider. I've already said this name too many times, but that's how commentating a tournament just goes. He is now down, dismounts, and onto the rugby trap. Let's see if Survivor_fan09 can be the fourth person to make it past this obstacle. He's taking his time, doing a little wraparound, has made it through. Now onto the jumping spider. Not seen a single person make it past this yet. He's going upwards. This Waggy failed. If he can make this jump, which he does, he's currently in possession of the first position. and is now onto the 5th obstacle. This is the clacker. You can see he needs to move forward until the clackers turn over and then jump onto the next set. And Survivor underscore fan 09 has made it through into the incline block run, and he bounces off the second block. With that, Survivor underscore fan 09 is out. Next up is Danny Bear, another rookie. He's about to start onto the first obstacle. Goes the timer. Danny Bear is onto the rope. Takes his time on this jump and has made it through. Now onto the curtain slider. I don't think I've said this yet, but the time limit is 2 minutes. It's a long stage. You need them. You need the 2 minutes. You will need them, trust me. Danny Bear now onto the rugby trap, onto the second set. And he has made it through with no problem. Now onto the jumping spider. We've just seen Survivor underscore fan clear this obstacle. Let's see if Danny can follow him. Now onto the upwards part. Here comes the jump where he failed. Danny has made it and is through onto the clacker. Clacker is not to be underestimated, but it doesn't seem to be any problem for Danny Bear. He's about to dismount from the clacker and is now onto the incline block run. Let's see if he can make it better than Survivor has made. Onto the second block, onto the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And this seems to be absolutely no problem for Danny Bear. Now onto the iconic, well-known warp wall. We've seen this in both Season 1 and 2, twice in Season 2 even. It's now onto another new obstacle, the domino pipes. Slowly making his way over. Got the ring and is now onto the last obstacle with 30 seconds remaining. Can Danny Bear become our very first Stage 1 clear? He's swinging and oh no, Danny Bear failed the jump to the second squirrel. Came up just short and has robbed us to have our very first Stage 1 clear. Next up is Sports and 123. Another newcomer to Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior is now onto the second obstacle. Now we've just seen a great run out of Danny Bear. He's gone incredibly far and has come out just short on the flying squirrel. Let's see. Can Sports and 123 beat that and become our very first Stage 1 clear? He's onto the rugby trap and makes the transition. And oh no, he touches the spinner and falls off. Sports and 123 is out. Next up is Vikaraki Vix, or more commonly referred to as Alex. Alex has competed in Season 2 and has failed the jumping spider on Stage 1. We've got the jumping spider once again today. Let's see if he can get revenge on that obstacle. He's now onto the curtain slider, sliding down, and has made it through. We have not yet seen anyone fail before the rugby trap, where Alex is now. And he makes it through without any further problems. Now onto the jumping spider, barely catches the ledge. He's now moving upwards. And he's got the jump onto the clacker, 3rd person. Onto the first clacker, spins over, transitions to the second. Alex is the first fail on the clacker. Transition to the 3rd set. Fortunate. Next up is Gavin80Y346, who has just kind of failed the jump into the rugby trap. Now Takakun555 hits his head and falls off at the end. Savage Jake Power is now onto the second set of the rugby trap and has actually made it through. Is now onto the jumping spider. This is his first time competing on Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. I'm stuttering again, but we're not going to worry about it. Savage Jake Power is now through the jumping spider and onto the clacker and has failed the jump to just the second set already. Next up is another newcomer, Whirlpool 730. I'm waiting on the starting line and now onto the shrinking steps. And oh boy, he sure is taking his time. Does not want to fail these steps. No one does. He's doing it extra safe and is onto the last step and is dismounted onto the curtain slider. And he could not jump into it. like one of these jump on this course. Next up is another newcomer. This is Tagmeister 11. Tagmeister. Or as would be pronounced the German way, Tagmeister 11. Or Elf. Now onto the curtain slider on the very last set. Sliding down, slowly but surely. The curtain is swinging a bit, no problem for Tag though. He's onto the rugby trap. Moving through the first spinner, has made it through, he's onto the second, and it is no problem for Tag. He's onto the jumping spider, got the jump into the spider, is now moving upwards. Here comes the small edge, not really small, but the upwards jump is made through into the clacker. And he's doing very well onto the last set and dismounts the third person who has made it all the way to the inclined block run. He has made through the third jump and is now on the sixth block already and is through just like Fanny Bears. Now onto the warp wall. Fan got up in one. Tag seems to struggle a bit, but has got it the second try without any further problem. Here comes the next obstacle. This is the domino pipes. He's moving through slowly but surely without any issue. Dismounts and is out second person onto the flying squirrel. We've just saw Fanny Bear fail to jump onto the second squirrel a couple minutes ago. Let's see if Tag can do better than this. Yes, he can. He catches the second squirrel, and we might be about to see our very first clear. Yes, Tag has made it. Next up is a regular competing for the second time on Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. This is Shadows_Death. In the last season, he has managed to surpass the qualifiers and has failed the jumping spider, and he's now off onto the first obstacle of the third season, the shrinking steps, which is absolutely no problem for Shadow, who is now onto the curtain slider, moving through, has now reached the end and is sliding down the track. Shadows_Death, formerly known as II Magic Zell, has a good amount of experience on Roblox Ninja Warrior and is now onto the third obstacle, the rugby trap. He's slowly making sure not to fail and has made it through. Now onto the jumping spider. Regenerates the obstacle once again. Catches the jump into the spider. Is now moving through quite quick. He's jumping over, don't really know why, but he's now onto the clacker. We've already seen a few fails on this obstacle. Let's hope that Shadow can make it through the clacker. He's onto the third set. One more jump and here comes the dismount. Can Shadow be the next one to clear the clacker? Yes, he can. He's now onto the inclined block run. Earlier today we saw Survivor Fan 09 fail this. Shadow is making it through steadily onto the small block and is dismounted. Now onto the warp wall. Absolutely no issue for Shadow, and his experience in R&W is now onto the pipe. Oh no, Shadows has failed the mount into the domino pipes. Next up is Builder Cerberus, competed in both Season 1 and Season 2, so this is his third appearance. In the first season has failed the double pendulum on stage 2. Last season he has failed the very first obstacle on the qualifiers. Let's see if he can get revenge. He's already made it onto the third obstacle, already an improvement compared to last season. Rugby trap is a tough obstacle and Builder Cerberus cannot make it through the rugby trap. Next up is Madzak33, a newcomer to TRNW, is now into the shrinking steps, got the rope sliding over, he's taken a break and has failed to jump to the final step. Another one down. Next up is Zeppy Bird 34, onto the shrinking steps, taking it slow, getting small breaks in every single step, Has made it through and is now onto the curtain slider. Jumping through the slider onto the last platform, sliding over slowly but surely. Has made it through. Here comes the rugby trap. Can Zappybird34 be the next one to defeat the rugby trap, or will he be another victim? The ninja killer of this season, this far at least. Next up is Natter5682. Zappybird could not surpass the rugby trap. Onto the shrinking steps Natter is. And here comes the rope. He seems to be lagging a bit, and he overshoots the jump to the steps and fails the shrinking steps. Next up is another newcomer with a good amount of experience in other Ninja Warrior competitions. This is Craft Battle Duty 0828, who is hosting his own competition, Craft Sasuke. He's now onto the second obstacle. There's the curtain slider. He gets on top. Interesting. I don't know how that happened, but he's trying to get down, so I'm just going to leave it in. I will, at the 2 seconds it took there, on top of the timer at the end. Craft Battle Duty is now onto the rugby trap. We haven't seen anyone pass this obstacle in a bit, and neither can Craft. He gets stuck under the spinner and falls off. Next up, JR the Beast Goer fails the shrinking steps, followed by Norwegian, who just falls off the rope. James Tass has made past the rope, but failed to jump to the last set. Next up is Ali Dart 1, another newcomer to this competition. Now onto the shrinking steps. It's made onto the rope. No problem for Ali Dart 1. Let's see if he can make this jump. Yes, he can, and he's onto the platform. Here comes the curtain slider, moving through the curtain, and now at the end, sliding down the track slowly but surely, and just dismounted barely, almost missed the platform. Now onto the third obstacle, the rugby trap. Ali Dart is making good progress and has made it through the rugby trap. It's been a while, but we've got another one on the jumping spider, and Ali Dart misses the jump into the spider. Next up is Epic Oliver 318. He is very epic on his second appearance on TRNW. In the last season, he has made it to the momentum shift on stage 1. Obstacle that many people failed, he's one of them. And he's now onto the second obstacle once again. The curtain slider. This time he has made it through. There's a new personal best on TRNW for Epic Oliver. Let's see how far he can get, or if he can clear the stage even. He's onto the rugby trap. And oh, he almost fails, but managed to clutch up. That was incredible. And all of that just to fail the jump into the spider. What a save by Epic Oliver. Incredible. Next up is Pappy_Smurfy1. Another newcomer onto the shrinking steps, and he walks off the rope. I don't know what just happened. Next up was Jackson Shit Gamer, who failed the rugby trap. An incredibly tough obstacle. Rest in peace _Peanut Cry couldn't overcome it either. Not _Gent came down on the first obstacle, and so did Dipk Joe, failing the very first jump even. Next up is Yellow Mailbox, a long time Roblox Ninja Warrior veteran. This is his first time running Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. He's got lots of experience, competing in many competitions. Let's see how he can do on this tough course with only one clear up until this point. We are 33 runs in. Yellow Mailbox onto the second obstacle, making quick work of the curtain slider, and is already at the last platform, sliding down and dismounts into the Ninja Killer. This obstacle knows no mercy. Can Yellow Mailbox overcome the rugby trap? No, he cannot. He walks off at the end. Yellow Mailbox is out on the third obstacle. Next up, another newcomer. This is Russell Oliver. Rusley Oliver? Something like that. Moving through the shrinking steps, and oh, looks like he tried to skip the step and go straight into the first that was not successful. Next up is a regular average guy 80. The last season he has made all the way to stage 2. Let's see how he can do this time around. He's made through the first obstacle, is now onto the curtain slider. Jumping around onto the last platform, sliding down the track. Average guy 80 does not have too much competition experience, at least not that I know of. He's now onto the third obstacle, the rugby trap, and tries to use a wraparound strategy but ends up failing. Next up, Joey Cool Turkey 1 is up onto the shrinking steps, jumps a bit late but catches the step anyway. He's now onto the second obstacle and he walks off. Next up is Flouthouse, another newcomer to Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior. Let's see how he will do. He's onto the shrinking steps, he's now got the rope, onto the second set, last step, and has made it. Now the second obstacle. Let's see if we can make it past this. It's not that hard, we haven't seen many fails here today. I think we've only seen one if I remember correctly even. Anyways, Flouthouse onto the third obstacle, the rugby trap. We've seen so many people fail. Can Flouthouse make it? He first hit his head, he's still standing and he's fallen down as the trap triggers and goes down. Next up is Overwatch _423. Jumping over the shrinking steps onto the rope, second set. Last step, dismount, here comes the curtain slider. Done a lot of commentary today, I'm getting exhausted. Overwatch now sliding down. Here comes the dismount. Onto the rugby trap. Can Overwatch, another newcomer to this competition, make it past the rugby trap? Oh, that was the totally wrong timing. Overwatch has fallen. Next up is Bebop54. Once again a newcomer who has not competed on this competition yet. So he barely catches the third step, almost fell down there. Here comes the last step, makes it through onto the curtain slider. Bebop54. We've saw Overwatch before, there's Bebop, has dismounted onto the rugby trap. Let's see if he can make it through. We've just seen 2 fails, I think, on this. Bebop tries to wrap around just like Average Guy 80 did earlier, but he fails as well. Next up is Cooler Guy 294. Another rookie. A lot of rookies before we start with the veterans and all-stars of this competition. Cooler Guy 294 is made through the curtain slider because, well, it's basically unfailable once you reach this point. It's just this one jump, which he has made onto the rugby trap. Transfers onto the second set, and that was the perfect timing. Cooler Guy 294 through the rugby trap and onto the jumping spider. Oh, he catches the jump into the spider but slips off just after that. Kicking off the top 10 is Slow But Perfecto, regular who has competed for the first time last season and made it all the way to stage 2. He's here on TRNW once again. Let's see if he can conquer the first stage this time around. Onto the curtain slider, moving through at a steady pace, and it's now sliding down. 90 seconds, clock about to hit 90 seconds, he has dismounted onto the rugby trap. Can the regular make it past the rugby trap? Yes, he can. That was just in time. That's exactly how we do it. Take notes, everyone. Slow But Perfecto now onto the jumping spider. Jumping up, and here comes the transition onto the clacker. This is a tough obstacle. Slow But Perfecto, jumping a bit early, but still managing to catch on. It's now onto the dismount, it is through the clacker. Slow But Perfecto onto the inclined block run. He's taking the double jump strategy, which has been working out today this far. Onto the small block dismount, and here comes the warp wall. He fails to get up his first try. Let's see if he can manage to do it a second try. Warp Slow But Perfecto has fallen down once again. This is a tough obstacle. Come on, slow but perfect. The time is running low. He's on 30 seconds. And the last two obstacles will take up a lot of time. 25 seconds remaining as he gets up the wall. Down. You've got to hurry up, slow but perfect. You've got to hurry up into the domino pipe. And he slips off the third pipe. Slow but perfecto is out. Next up is Brian the One, 12345. Having competed in both Season 1 and Season 2 and made it to Stage 2 in both seasons. In the first season he has failed the sand ladder, second obstacle. In the second season he has made it to the balanced tank, almost clearing the second stage. Let's see if Brian the One, 12345 can get revenge. We've only seen one clear, a single clear in this entire course this far. Brian just makes it through the rugby trap. That was incredibly close, but he's now onto the jumping spider. Jumps in, makes it through. Here comes the upwards part, taking an extra jump just to be safe. And he fails the jump onto the transition. Brian the One is out. Next up is Rish_Squix. In the first season he has made it all the way to Stage 3 onto the flying bar. Incredible performance that was. In the second season he unfortunately came down in the qualifiers. That was an unfortunate end to his run. He's now onto the second obstacle, the curtain slider. It's moving down the track. Rish_Squix is the last mobile standing of Season 1. In the second season he got outdone by Cyrus08UK, who we are going to see after Rish_Squix. Let's see if he can reclaim the title and get back to Stage 2 once again, or maybe even Stage 3. It is a tough course, but who knows? Everything could happen. Rish_Squix now going onto the track, a great performance up until this point. Moving down onto the second set and the third set. One more jump to go. Here comes the dismount, and Rish_Squix is through onto the incline block run. He is lagging a bit, but he has made it onto the second block. He's not taking an extra jump, he's just going straight through with great pace onto the warp wall. We've just seen slow but perfecto struggling this quite a lot, and Rish_Squix takes a second attempt but has made it onto the domino pipes. Is moving it through and is onto the ring. Here comes the dismount. We could be about to see a second clear. Rish_Squix is onto the flying squirrel. We've only seen two attempts. Fanny Bear failed it and Tagmaster clear, and Rish fails the jump to the second squirrel just like Fanny Bear. Rish_Squix is out. Next up is Cyrus08UK. He has not competed in the first season, however in the second season he has made it all the way to Stage 3, being the only mobile player to make it that far in fact, becoming the last mobile player standing. Today this title is between him and Rish_Squix. If he can beat Rish and clear the first stage, he is guaranteed last mobile standing. If he does not make it to the flying squirrel, Rish_Squix reclaims his title for the second time. Cyrus is now onto the rugby trap. Should be moving through this carefully. We've seen many people fail, and he just jumps into the spinner and fails it, falling off. That was a disastrous run. Next up is MinNinja712. In the first season he has made it to the second stage and came down on the sound ladder. In the second season he was taken down by the curtain cling on Stage 3. MinNinja, a veteran to this competition, having had two great results, is now onto the second obstacle. We are still waiting for his second Stage 1 clear. Could MinNinja712 be the one? Could he have it in him to clear this stage? He's moving through the rugby trap and fails the dismount. Oh no, Min is out. Next up is Cheese VIP. In the last season he has made it all the way to the hybrid cliffhanger, becoming the 3rd place overall in the tournament. Let's see how he can do this time around as the sun is slowly starting to set. Cheese VIP is onto the first obstacle, grabs the rope, here comes the transition to the last step, and Cheese VIP walks off and fails the first obstacle. He is out. This early. Still only one clear, and we've got just 2 runs remaining. Next up is Robotic Pie. Let's see if he can make it through this course. He's moving through the shrinking steps. Last season he has managed to make it all the way to stage 2 and came down on the double butterfly wall. Robotic Pie is now onto the curtain cling, sliding down. Now onto the 3rd obstacle. Going through the first spinner, slowly but surely with great strategy. Here comes the 2nd spinner, and he dismounts. Great job, well done by Robotic Pie. Onto the jumping spider. Catches the jump into the spider and is now moving through. Here comes the upwards part, into the sledge, and the transition to the clacker. Let's see if we can see our 2nd clear right here. No, Robotic Pie fails the jump to the 2nd clacker and is out. Here he comes, our very last competitor, our last hope to get a 2nd clear. The man with the single one with the most clears in the history of this competition. This is number 50, Exotic Miller. He has had great results in both season 1 and 2. The first season he has achieved Kenzen Seha, reaching all the way to the final stage and taking it down within the time limit of 30 seconds. Is onto the 3rd obstacle. Let's see how he can make this. We've seen so many people fail this, all-stars and veterans. Let's see if he can make it through. Yes, he can. Exotic is onto the 4th obstacle. Last season he made all the way to stage 3 once again, but was what came down on the hybrid cliffhanger, just like many other. Came in 4th place with his performance. That's the only time we saw him fail a course in history of Timbas Roblox Ninja Warrior this far. This is a tough course, but he's already onto the incline block run. Let's see if we can see if Exotic can be our 2nd clear. Struggles a little bit with the warp wall, just like many before him. Fails to get a 2nd attempt. Here comes the 3rd attempt. He's got plenty of time left though, but he's still wasting a lot on this wall. He might have to go a little fast, although he's got a lot of time. He's through the domino pipes, sliding down the ring track and onto the last obstacle. Just the 4th competitor to even make it this far. Can he be the 2nd clear? Exotic Miller is swinging and has made the transition, caught the 2nd squirrel. Are we going to see our 2nd clear right here and now at this very moment? Exotic has made it through stage 1.
up.
50 runs, only 2 clears, but let's not forget to assign the last mobile player standing award to Rich_Squicks, once again reaching all the way to the flying squirrel and almost clearing the course. only 2 competitors remaining to attempt stage 2. Starting off with a rookie, this is Techmeister_11. Having cleared the first stage, he's now off onto the second stage. The first obstacle, the snake pillars, onto the rope, struggles a little bit to get up, but manages to dismount and is on to wait for it. This stage, it's mainly a test of time, a test of speed, a test of strategy. Techmeister11 has a great strategy on wait for it, moving through with just 2 swings, and is dismounted, now down onto the code breaker. And it is pretty simple, just tap the numbers in order and the wall drops. A bit laggy here, but he's up onto the stomach churn. 34 seconds, no, 30 seconds, clock is lagging. About 30 seconds remaining, Tech is onto paraglider. Pretty simple, click the button, the ropes of the paraglider of the bar retract and you can get onto the next set of double dippers. Onto the final obstacle. We're going to see our very first clear straight away. The Helix Towers, no problem for Tech. He's made it, 10 seconds remaining, just avoiding the collection. 1 run, 1 clear, Tech is through to the third stage. Next up is Exotic Miller. He has not failed the first or second stage a single time, having made it all the way to stage 3 in season 1 and 2. Let's see if he can carry that on. Just skips the second platform of the rope and goes straight onto wait for it. Having a even faster strategy than Tech had, making pretty good progress off this obstacle without any trouble. And here comes to the dismount, not an easy jump, but Exotic manages to jump, get far enough onto the code breaker, clicking the numbers, wall goes down and he's through, moving upwards, now onto stomach churn. 35 seconds on the clock. Tiny bit faster than Tech was, onto the paraglider. Exotic swings back, misses the button, and oh, he skips right onto the double dipper. He doesn't even bother waiting for the ropes to retract, saving a lot of time, and is now onto the Helix Tower. With 19 seconds remaining, he's going to clear with an incredible time. Exotic has made it, 14.1 seconds remaining. That's our second run, our second clear, no fails on the second stage. We're going to see 2 more people battle for the title of last man standing on stage 3, or perhaps even someone clear the third stage and claim 1,500 Robux. Here we go now, onto the third stage. This is a battle between Tech and Exotic, a battle between the competitors and the course. No more time limit, just a bunch of 9 tough obstacles, not to be underestimated. Tech is off onto the first obstacle, the curved body prop. He's slowly making his way through, barely catches on, he almost slides off there. But he has made it, taking a break, collecting his nerves, making sure to not fail this next jump. Does not want another jump as close as the last one. He's made it through the curved body prop and is now about to attempt the second obstacle. Mounts onto the ring of the ring toss rush. You can see the time counting down whenever the time hits 0. This middle part will start swinging no matter where the competitor is. Tech has made it in time, transitioned onto the second set, is now moving through steadily, surely onto the third obstacle. This is absolutely not meant as a joke. Welcome to the cheesy climb. Tech making his way through, taking very brief breaks on every cheese climb, and has cleared the obstacle. Now onto the ultimate cliffhanger. This is a tough obstacle, many tough jumps. Tech is onto the third ledge. This a far ledge. He's gonna have to take a bit of swinging in order to get there, or have to get some momentum. He's slowly but surely swinging. Just a little bit more and he might be able to get enough distance. He does, and he catches on. Transition to the other side, catches on. Tag is doing incredible on the ultimate cliffhanger. He barely catches that ledge and is onto the last ledge. Now taking some swings to get the dismount. This is a far jump. Slowly but surely, he jumps and he barely catches onto the platform. Tag is onto the window hang. A rookie with an incredible performance, putting the bar up for Exotic if he wants to compete with him. Taking a break, shaking out his arms before going on to the tough challenge of the window hang. Jumps off onto the first window. Transition to the second window. Now the wrap around to the other ledge, and Tag misses the jump and is out on the window hang. What an incredible debut performance. Reaching all the way to stage 3 to the window hang. Next up is Exotic Miller. If Exotic can make it past the second window of window hang, he is guaranteed the title of Last Man Standing. Maybe the Season 1 Grand Champion can even get to the final stage again? Let's see. He's taking his time, going through the strategies in his head, making sure not to fail any of these obstacles. Now moving through the curved body prop. Quite a lot faster than Tag. Still not rushing it, of course. Here he goes, taking a small break onto the last ledge and dismounts. Exotic now onto ring toss rush. It's going through the first set. 3 seconds remaining. He's slower than Tag, but he's got it. He's onto the second set. Here he goes. Not in a hurry anymore, can take his time now. Using the strategy where he's kind of wiggling the wing to the edge before he jumps. It seems to work out. Exotic is now onto the incredibly tough cheesy climb, which he just rushes through without thought. Next up, the ultimate cliffhanger. He's onto the third ledge once again. Or he is onto the third ledge, I should say, because this is the first time he's here. The ultimate cliffhanger is replacing the hybrid cliffhanger in which Exotic failed last season. Maybe this is good for him. He's onto the back set, now jumping back. Got the jump, last ledge, and preparing for the dismount, taking his swings. If Exotic can get past this jump, he is in the race. Yes, he can, barely, just as close as Tag. Now the window hang, we've just saw Tag fail this jump right here. If Exotic can catch it, and he can, Exotic is now in possession of the Last Man Standing title. But he might be able to become a 2-time Grand Champion even. He's making it through with no problem and has cleared the window hang and is now onto the next obstacle, the sinkhole. He's rushing through, and no, Exotic has slipped off and is out on the sinkholes. Walking out of the mud, we see the former Grand Champion and the new Last Man Standing, Exotic Miller, having dominated not just the past 2 tournaments, but also this one.